Hey, this is Jay Shauna. So I want to talk about this behavior type that I just found out about that I feel like really secretly describes me, and no one ever put it this way. I was watching a video that said some type of behaviors that kill, relationships, and the last one said micromanaging behavior, and it showed an example of this couple happy. Sometimes they spend the night at this person's house, and then they moved in, and then they found out the other person was leaving their clothes around, and they would just kind of be mad and look at the clothes, but they would end up just doing it for them, but still having that resentment and stuff. And I thought about, you know I looked up, into detail a little bit more, and some of the behaviors that it says 9 signs. Usually, this refers to your boss, your manager, how they are with their employees. So, but you can apply it just how I am with other people in general. You don't trust others to make decisions. You rather do it yourself than to delegate, and I still have to look that up because I don't use delegation very often in my vocabulary. But it says that, you think that if someone else do it differently, they'll do it, they'll do it differently, or it will be less than what I think it will be when I do it. You complain about small details, which I do. I always found that an example is the coffee isn't made quite this way you would like it. I think that is something to be concerned about, because I paid for it to be good or perfect, and I know it's been perfect before, so clearly something was wrong. But anyways, that's something that I do. You don't take time to give constructive feedback. I give feedback, but what it says here is constantly criticizing, demoralizes and demotivates them. And it's not that I try to be mean, which it comes off as that. It doesn't, it doesn't convey the message I want quite clearly. You might want to say something isn't up to standard or not that great, but it just makes them not want to be involved or do what you want them to say. And lots of, like, these examples, like, talks about job workplace, but I'm putting it says you don't trust your team to work from home. And the example here was like, to work remotely, to not be around you. We're gonna skip that one. The other one said, number 6 says you have trouble working, and I don't know what this word means. I swear it says ASYNCHRONOUSLY, and it looks like asynchronously. I've never used that word. It says it's the communication between two or more people that doesn't require them to be in the same physical space or communicating at the exactly same time, like email. So you have trouble working like that with people. Well, if you're not sharing the same space or something. That could be something I do. I like face-to-face more than anything. You don't provide the full context. So I don't know. I think that... Okay, it says you may be withholding important information without even realize you're doing it. I guess sometimes I don't quite tell everybody the full story, especially if it's something that I feel like I'm going to be doing. That could have something to do with withholding some thoughts, some opinions, things like that. I don't know. You find it difficult to meet deadlines. And like I said, these are with work situations. Like a manager can be this way. It says, like, when everything waits on your seal of approval, projects get delayed and deadlines run and the risk of not being met. That doesn't sound like me. You don't invest in continued learning. Like, again, that doesn't really sound like me. That saying that a boss wouldn't probably invest in education for their team. That I think I can teach them everything. So like I said, a lot of that isn't quite, relationship based, but it's just having the idea that you're doing, a lot of work on your own, or another thing that I read about micromanaging is that it can be, one word says a pattern of manager behavioral marked by excessive supervision and control of employees' work and processes, as well as a limited delegation of tasks or decision to staff. And I need to find out what delegation means right now, because I see it too much. Sorry, just don't use that word. The act or process of delegating. It says a body of delegates or representatives, a deputation. Okay, what is this? Commission? Deputation. A group of people appointed to undertake a mission or take part in a formal process on behalf of a larger group. So if you don't do that, you don't... anyways, I don't think that's necessarily applying to the relationship situation, but I will say some of these behaviors, it's like this idea that I've had, or this feeling in the past that, I know how I want it to go. I have to do this. I have to do that. I gotta make sure we see in each other enough. I gotta make sure that, I'm suggesting things, or, but what's hard is that, in a lot of cases, I could, not all the time, I could do what the guy could do. But in some cases, I really could do a lot more. But I'd be actually trying and allowing them, in my opinion, which sounds controlling, to try to take initiative or to see what they could do. Let them be creative. And that's what I mean by that, because, like, the definition said something about, not allowing creativity on the other person, not really giving them that space to do that. I feel like secretly, without knowing, I have been trying to work on this type of behavior, but I never really knew what it was. And it said, if, in the video, that if you felt like you had these traits, you could see, like, some type of, therapist or whatever. So I probably want to do that, but now that I'm kind of aware of what type of behavior that is, I don't like calling myself controlling. It also said someone could act this way if they have anxiety or something like that. So, you might just be simply worried that things will go wrong if you don't take initiative or lead sometimes, or you think that maybe someone could be careless with something that's really important to you. And like I said, that could be some anxiety. So it's not just trying to be mean. It's just, I happen to have been doing a lot of things on my own for a long time. I know how to do things. I learn I have to go out and do things. And I just so used to it, to the point where when someone else is my man come into my life, it's hard to allow them to do something sometimes. And believe it or not, it doesn't sound like that to the other person, because they say, well, she wants this done and this done and this done right. But it's never really a big thing I'm asking. It's just so many small things that I'm asking for. And that goes into the what is this thing called? This goes into the micromanaging. And it said something about so many small things and details you're paying attention to. And when I pay attention to all these little details, and I'm like, okay, check mark, nope, no, we have too many X's, too many things not done. That's when it looks like I'm asking for too much or too many things. But they are small. So it's just something that I need to work on. And I'm glad I watched that video, because sometimes I'm just like, just uninformed of behavioral types and attachment styles. And I started doing my own little research on this. This is all like psychology based. But, that makes sense. And I'm not proud of it, but I'm sure a lot of other people have this behavioral style as well. But mostly this is associated with the way that a boss or a leader, a person of management, a manager, a person of authority behaves. So, I don't know. It's not that I don't love the people or don't care about people. It's just sometimes I have to step back and just see what they can do, and just take my hands off and be okay if something isn't perfect. That's it. And it sounds easy, but it's not. But that's just some information on that. If you find that, you've experienced this or noticed someone who's like this, give them some insight. Thank you.